Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Today I've got a good video for you regarding how valuable bobber stops are. Bobber stops are something you gotta have in your tackle box no matter where you're fishing because you can do so many things with it. You guys probably know that I'm not a huge fan of using a bobber stop to peg my bullet weights on Texas rigs, but I love them for lots of different things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got a whole bunch of things here that I just want to walk you through and show you how simple a bobber stop can make different techniques that much better, which is going to help you catch more fish and be efficient on the water. Before I get into that, I do want to remind you guys that if you are looking for a little bit of help on your local lakes, check out the lake breakdowns that I've done with fishthemoment.com. Myself, Randy Blockett, and Johnny Schultz all have put together a bunch of great breakdowns where you get 40 different waypoints on the lakes in your area. If we haven't covered your lake, you can specifically request a personalized lake breakdown for whatever lake it is that we have not covered. Also, if you're looking to purchase some tackle and want to support the channel, please use the Tackle Warehouse affiliate link that's in the description for the video. It's a great way to show your support for the channel, and it's very much appreciated. Okay, guys, so bobber stop. There's lots of different types of bobber stops. These are one of my favorites. These are the Decoy Texas Lock. They seem like they really hold well. They're a little bit more of a bullet shaped. They work really well, but you know, you can use pretty much any sort of, you know, cheap generic bobber stops like these. You can get them in various colors. But the key here is the bobber stop, which is just a simple little piece of rubber that fits on your line, and it's used for a lot of different things. You know, the first thing that you don't ever really hear people talk about is the bobber stop was originally created for slip bobbers. So you put it on your line, and then when you get a slip bobber, your slip bobber floats up and hits that bobber stop, and then at that point, that's the depth that you're at. So if you're a bobber fisherman, whether it's for bluegill, crappie, bass, a bobber stop is a huge thing to have if you like fishing slip bobbers. So it's very versatile in terms of that. And we don't ever hear anybody in the bass world really talk about it, but I can assure you that there's a lot of people bass fishing with bobbers, and a bobber stop is a huge piece of equipment for them. Because you can very easily slide it up and down your line and change the depth that you're fishing. So don't overlook a bobber stop for a bobber, but that's not necessarily what I want to talk about today. So a couple of other key uses for a bobber stop. One, if you like fishing a Texas rig, what you can do is take the bobber stop, slide it up over the hook shank, slide it up the hook, and therefore you have it on the hook. You put it on the bend of your hook, so you can see I've got it right here. And at that point, when I hook my plastic up, which I just pulled off, what it does is it locks your bait in. So no matter how hard you pull on that, the plastic like sticks to the rubber and will not pull down the shank. So if you've got a used beaten up worm, it's a great way to get a little bit longer life out of your Texas rig plastic. It's something I do all the time. I always put a bobber stop on the shank of the worm hook, just to keep my bait up in its position. It locks it right in. So that's something you don't ever really hear people talk about. If you're looking to mount your trailer hooks and you're running any sort of trailer hook, whether it's on a spinner bait or a swim bait or whatever bait it is, you can very easily do the same thing. Slide the bobber stop over the point of the hook after you've put on your trailer hook, and it locks it right in there. You can see in this case, it will not go over that bobber stop. And the bobber stop, if it were to push back up, would hit that barb and would not go any further. So it's a great way to lock in any sort of trailer hooks. Next up is what you would consider, most people in the bass world would say, you use a bobber stop to lock in your Texas rig. So in this case, the bullet weight is locked in because the bobber stop is holding it down at the bottom. Works great. I personally am not a huge fan of that because I think you lose more fish by not it's a whole different story, but when you set the hook, a lot of times your weight will slide up, push the bobber stop up, and then you have a free swinging weight that can potentially knock the hook out of the fish's mouth. I prefer to peg my weight in place so that it does not slide around. But that's just me personally. A lot of people love the bobber stop. Stick with what you have confidence in. The key here is the bobber stop works great for pegging your Texas rigs. But another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is if you've got a Texas rig, I like to use a bobber stop to protect my knot. So if I've got a weight that is, free sliding or pegged, I still put a bobber stop at the bottom to protect the knot. I do this as well with Carolina rigs. If I've got the knot to my swivel before my leader on a Carolina rig, I always put a bobber stop in front of the bead that I use because it protects that knot. It's something that we don't hear that many people talk about, but it definitely makes a big impact, especially if you're fishing an unpegged Texas rig where your weight's going like this all day. It falls, bumps off that bobber stop, and protects your knot. Another really simple thing to do here is if you're say you're fishing, you want to fish not a Carolina rig, but more of that Mojo rig or a split shot rig. You can very easily take this rig, for instance, slide your bobber stop up, and it holds your weight up there. So now you've got a split shot rig, and you can adjust the length very easily on the fly. So let's say you're fishing an area, you want to make a couple of casts over a flat, and you turn your Texas rig into a split shot rig. You get to a piece of wood and you're like, you know what, I'm going to slide it back down. You fish it as a Texas rig, and you can go back and forth all day long. So it makes you really efficient on the water, and it's doing so many different things because it's letting you fish different types of cover. It's protecting your knot. It's letting you fish as a Texas rig versus a split shot rig. Lots of different things there. So guys, that's just a handful of different things that you can do with a bobber stop. It's really a great tool for locking in baits, a great tool for protecting your knots, a great tool for creating separation between baits and weights, and lots of different things. So guys, in the comment section, if you have other uses for bobber stops, please share them with myself and the rest of the viewers so that we can learn from your experience as well. But I hope this was useful. I hope this helps you guys realize the importance of a bobber stop. Maybe go out and make sure that you always carry with you a pack or two of bobber stops, just because of how versatile they are and how simple they are to use, and makes you that much more efficient on the water. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned, another video coming out tomorrow.